Welcome back. So this is the latest review I've posted in a while, isn't it? And this is honestly these World Juniors. It's been some good hockey. This was one game that it looked like might end up being kind of lopsided and not necessarily a great game, but in the end it tightens up and it became a really good game. So Sweden and the U.S. fighting for first place. I don't know how important that's going to be because regardless of whether you finish first or second in this grouping, you're likely going to get a favorable matchup in the quarterfinals. Although there's reseeding after the quarterfinals, so that could change things up too. So it was Wallstead versus Umberco. Bordelot fires one high on a rush early on. Wallstead then holds as there's an early press by the Americans, and you knew for Sweden to have a chance, Wallstead had to have an amazing game, right? The Americans, who won the last gold medal, are seen as gold medal threats again. They've never won back-to-back golds. This is their plan. Cooley then has a net feed that's blocked. Grons had a chance that was kicked aside. Some good back and forth there. The shots are 4-2 for the Americans at 4 minutes. So not the kind of start that Sweden's looking for, but we would see things even up shot-wise. Olofsson has a rush chance that's held. Hughes then had a net feed that's intercepted. The Swedes rush. There's a near miss for Stakastad, and then the U.S. gets themselves a power play. During that, Pastuyov has a blast that's held. Good cycle on the power play, and then they would score on it. It is Berard. Power play goal from Bordelot and Hughes at 6:35. He scores on his own rebound. So it's one of those ones where they just couldn't clear out that rebound, and it's just that tenacious attack at the net that the Americans had going on at this point. Lysell then had a rush that set up a press for Sweden. Andre had a shot that was held. The shots are 9-9 with 9 minutes left. So again, it's very even to this point, although the score is not. Magnuson was denied in close. Strong forecheck by the U.S. Just throughout this game, their forecheck was fantastic. Olofsson has a shot that's blocked. Grons then had one that was kicked aside. Both teams forcing turnovers at this point in the game. Both teams seemingly keeping that intensity level up, even though you could see the foot speed of the Americans was giving Sweden a lot of trouble because this is a fast skating team. Then there's a post for Andre. Wallinder had a shot that was kicked aside. The U.S. presses with 2.5 minutes left. Nyes was denied. The Swedes get pinned down as well. They would eventually clear it to get that line change, but there had to be a little bit of tension in the air on that one. So they did clear it out. U.S. was being held to the outside in the final minute, but they had the zone time. So coming out of that first period, it's 1-0 U.S., and you could see the momentum was shifting towards the Americans. And the second period really, really drove that home. Sweden starts with a full power play. So how is it that the Americans end up getting all the momentum? That power play was not very effective. The U.S. doesn't let them set up. Lysell went for a net drive. That was blocked out. Sweden clears it out. Or the U.S. clears it out. The power play's killed off. No shots for Sweden on that one. And then Shodin fires one wide after. Lekaramäki was getting some touches, not getting to the net. So I saw some comments the last time I reviewed a Swedish game. How's Lekaramäki playing? Is he out there? Lekaramäki's out there. He's getting touches on the puck. But clearly there's some work that still needs to be done. I think we've seen that he's not quite NHL ready. There are players in this tournament that look NHL ready. Lekaramäki probably needs more development time. See, now I say that, and then we'll see him make the Canucks right out of camp. He'll score 20 goals. Anyways, and then I wake up. So yeah, Edvinsson skating and pressing again. Edvinsson is an excellent skater, and they're like, there's a chance he's going to play for Detroit. And I answered with, well, yeah. I don't know why I talk to the TV. It doesn't hear me. It doesn't answer me back. I get no satisfaction from that. So Mazur has a chance that's saved. Bordelot's denied. Wallstead holds on that. Savage then has a chance that deflects out. But Coronado would make it 2-0, thus the Flames hat. Cooley and Nyes with the assists at 5:37. He buries his own rebound. So what happens is Wallstead kind of comes off the post just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot for Coronado to put that in. So it's a goal that Wallstead would probably want back, but it's one that also shows Coronado very good at the net. And so I think Flames fans are going to like Coronado. I think he's got a chance. I do. I think he's got a chance of making the team. The USA then presses for another. Torgerson has a fast break. That was saved. The U.S., though, gets a power play. Good cycle, cross-ice passes. Cooley's denied. McCown was robbed as well. That shot deflects out. Hughes then had a rush. Boy, watching people trying to keep up with Luke Hughes, his skating in this tournament has been very impressive. The power play's killed off in just 3 shots. I'm waiting for Hughes to go through the boards and to have it be like Looney Tunes, where you just see the outline of him as he's gone through the boards, and just, yeah, he went right out of the arena on that one. So, yeah, the shots are 10-2 for the Americans with 9 minutes left. So that's telling you that this 2-0 score, it's something that is pretty accurate. And not only that, it could have been a lot worse. Wallstead was making some nice saves here and there to keep it 2-0. So Faber nearly makes it 3-0. Sweden, though, they get a power play. They needed a goal. There's an early clear by Savage, who's been good on the penalty kill. I thought it was interesting, too. They talked about how Red Savage's his father is Brian Savage, who wasn't known as a penalty killer. Brian Savage, what I remember with him was he was excellent in October and early November. He was absolutely fantastic early in the season. That's what I remember with Brian Savage. Yes, that could be a career video at some point. So, no sustained press. The power plays killed off without a shot on 2 power plays. So 2 power plays for Sweden, no shots for them. Grans fires wide on a rush. When you look at this final score, that power play not working is a huge reason why the result ends up the way it is. So Grans fires wide on a rush. Faber has a screenshot that's kicked aside. The USA is outworking Sweden at this point. They're faster to the pucks. The forecheck's really strong. They're getting in the lanes. They're not allowing any passes. It's tough for Sweden to get out of their own zone. But the USA delay a game. They say it's delay. USA says it's delay a game on the Swedes. The refs discuss, and they call no penalty, although it probably should have been. It looked like it went off the Swedish player's stick and straight out. So the Americans, they didn't fight too much about that. The coach just kind of gives them a kind of look, and that's about it. So that didn't end up in a penalty. James fires one wide during a delayed penalty, and with 1:02 left, USA does get a power play, and it's called as a 5 for boarding. They call it as a 5 so they can review it and drop it to 2 as need be. You cannot review a 2 and make it a 5, so it's the same in double IHF rules as it is in the NHL. They reviewed it and they dropped it to a minor, which I don't think anybody would argue with. Just in real time watching, I was like, that's not a 5, but I understand why they call a 5 and want to review it. I think that's just fine. And I would look for that to happen more often in the NHL too, where they decide to review the boarding calls. So the Swedes clear it out and they don't allow the Americans to set up. So that power play rolls over into the third period. And Sweden desperately needed a good third period. Samoskevich has a shot that's held through traffic. Olsen blocks a shot. That's cleared out. The kill's finished, and 2 shots by the Americans on that power play. The shots at this point were exactly 2-1 for the Americans, 32-16. So, yeah, Sweden was in trouble at that point. More strong forechecking by the U.S. Andre with a stretch pass. It turns into an icing. They're trying to force the puck through. The Americans aren't giving him anything. The U.S. was hitting anybody who had the puck, and it seemed kind of relentless. Duran then has a shot that's saved and held. Sweden knows they can't allow another. Hughes then had a rush chance that was blocked. The U.S. does get that third goal. It's Coronado with his second goal of the game from Sligert and Cooley at 5:26. So Logan Cooley with a couple of helpers. He looks like he's at least ready to get 9 games for Arizona. We'll see what they do with him this year. So it's wired after a turnover, too. The Swedes getting kind of sloppy in their own zone. There's a post for James as U.S. looks for another. More American pressure at 8.5 minutes, and they're faster to the pucks. But Sweden finally wakes up. It's a brief press, and they make it 3-1. Andre with the goal from Wallinder and Magnuson at 11:38. And it was one of those ones where Mberko had it, and it just rolled out of his glove and into the net. So he almost had it. And suddenly, we have a hockey game. Suddenly, the Swedes wake up, and they start generating some opportunities, and the Americans are now the ones on their heels a little bit. There's a net feed to Cooley that was defended. Olesen and Wallinder then are denied at the other end, as Mberko suddenly gets busy. Sweden with the jump. Ogren, snow showers Mberko. That draws a crowd. So Mberko stops the puck, and Ogren lets him have a bunch of snow in his face. Players don't like that when you do that to their goaltender. Good U.S. forecheck with 3 minutes left. What's interesting is that the announcers, Gord Miller and Johnson there, they were both talking about how the Swedes weren't pulling their goaltender. But it's different. You know, in the NHL, we see that aggressive goalie pull. Dean Evison will do it in the second period if he has to. But, yeah, international play, it's not quite as aggressive. So we don't get the goalie pull until 2 minutes and 2 seconds left. There's a face-off in the American zone. Sweden calls a timeout. and pulls the goaltender at the same time. So that was a smart move by Sweden, I think. I do think, and this is just me, that the aggressive pulling of the goaltender, I just don't think it works often enough. I think waiting until 2.5 minutes left is best. But again, that's just me. 1:43 left. Kaiser, a mistake that he regretted right away, and he knew. Delay a game. He just wires it, goes straight over the glass, didn't touch anything on the way out. And so now it's 6-on-4. It does not take long for them to take advantage of that 6-on-4. At 18:45, it's a power play goal at Stakastad from Andre and Olsson. So Stakastad on the board there. I thought he had a very good game. Doesn't get player of the game for Sweden, but I might have given it to him. The goalie gets pulled again right away. Sweden had the puck in their own zone, but it was fine. The Americans weren't really forechecking that much. Andre forces Umberko to hold it as well. So Andre comes in over the line, puts it on the net, and forces the American goaltender to hold onto the puck so they get that offensive zone faceoff. That's smart play. That's the kind of thing that coaches in the NHL would see and say, that I like on my team. 49.2 seconds left. The Americans iced the puck as they were trying to hit the empty net, and they just missed. Andre then had a chance that was saved. Olsson's is held. Sweden presses, but they run out of time. They just do not have enough time. If they started this comeback 5 minutes earlier in the game, odds are we're probably in overtime right now. They just ran out of time. So with this result, the Americans clinch first place. The Swedes will play for second against Germany, and in all likelihood, they'll beat the Germans, right? This result, again, I think for Sweden, losing in the round robin, which is something they used to never do, I think that has to make things better for them in the medal round. They need to win a gold medal. And because of all the countries that are considered to be elite, it feels like Sweden's been up against that brick wall when it comes to winning gold over the last 15 years. So we'll see if this is the year and if this result wakes them up a little bit. The shots in this one, 14-13 U.S. in the first, 16-3 U.S. in the second. In the third, Sweden actually outshoots them 12-10. I think they had the last 10 shots, 10 or 11. Anyways, the U.S. ends up outshooting them 40-28 in the game. Your players of the game for Sweden, Theodor Niederbach, and for the Americans, Matt Coronado. Again, if you're a Flames fan, if you watch this game, you have to be thinking maybe Coronado's going to take some of the sting out of losing Matthew Tkachuk, and maybe it won't be this year, maybe it'll be next year, but he'd be on an entry-level contract, and I thought he looked good today. So we will see. We're about a month away from NHL training camps and seeing where players on this board are going to end up. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.